Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of NPFL's Roundtable. We are here at the St. Lawrence River. That's the legendary St. Lawrence River for those of you bass fans out there. My name's Ken Duke, and right now we are live from the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Seaway Visitor Center in Massena, New York. A terrific, incredibly scenic place. We're here for Stop 5 of the NPFL 2025 season. Again, on the St. Lawrence River. It doesn't get any better for smallmouth bass than right where we are right now. We got 3 days of competition coming up. It's going to start tomorrow, Wednesday, July 9th, actually. And today was the final day of practice. I'm going to be talking with a couple of top-notch pros today, guys who have not just a great chance of winning here, but qualifying for the championship, who've done big things in the league, and one of them sitting right next to me. I'm going to introduce him in just a moment. We've also got a big and hotly contested race for AOY between Kyle Welcher, Greg Hackney, and Patrick Walters. That is going to go right down to the wire, it looks like right now. We've got guys fighting to get in the top 40 of the AOY so that they can qualify for the 2026 championship. The only way to get in there is to be in that top 40 to win a tournament or to be the defending champion, which is exactly what Brandon Perkins has done. But right now, folks, I want to introduce you to my friend Jesse Wise. He is from Irwin, North Carolina, and he is right here. Jesse, welcome to Roundtable.
What's going on, Ken? How you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. We had to hustle Jesse off the water. The guy is serious, and he's also having a great time out there. He put his son on his personal best smallmouth today. What did that fish weigh?
4.3.
4.3 is a big quality smallmouth anywhere in America. But here, if he were to go out again tomorrow, which he's not going to have a chance to because you're fishing for $100,000, but he might break that in 30 or 40 minutes.
He might actually go out tomorrow. I don't know if he's going to ride with me or not. You know, here at the league, we get the opportunity to have family members or sponsors ride with us and observe. My mom and dad come in town because they know the fishing was so good. I've been telling them. So they made the 12.5-hour drive up from North Carolina.
Oh, that's
and
fantastic.
Daddy brought his boat, and he's like, what do I need to do? So I told him what he needed to go do, and him and Mama went out today and caught some fish. So John Russell might be going fishing with them tomorrow. I don't know yet.
John Russell, that's a simple decision. You go fishing with your grandparents. Your dad's got it covered, okay? He's got it covered in the competition. Jesse Wise has been fishing in this league for 4 years now. Got a very impressive track record. I had to write down some of the stuff here. First of all, the first thing I think about when I think about your career in the NPFL is just one standout cast that you made in the NPFL championship.
Yep.
And you caught a 10-pound, 9-ounce largemouth bass on Amistad. Still a tie for the biggest bass ever caught in league history.
Yep. It was, man. I tell you what, all my friends back home, they were giving me a hard time because I had to come apart, on the boat, and I was hollering and screaming like Mike Iaconelli was. But, whenever that fish jumped out there at 30 yards, dude, if she hadn't have been spawned out, I'm telling you, I'd have had a 12 or 13 pounder. That was the absolute biggest frame fish I've ever seen, but still a pretty impressive fish.
Enormously impressive fish.
It was that was fun. Caught it on a shaky man. So, I mean, it's just, or a shaky head, not a shaky man. But catching a big fish on a little bait like that is like, wow, it was fun.
That's an absolute blast. And to catch it in the championship had to make it even more special, didn't it?
Yeah. I was, I think I was in 4th or 5th going into the final day. And, of course, Perkins had like a 10 or 12 pound lead. But I knew when I caught that fish, I just made up my difference. All I got to do is catch 4 more solid ones. If I had one of the magical days, it could happen, But I only caught 2 more big ones that day and had 2, rats to go with it. But, it was still a phenomenal finish. Finished second in that tournament.
Tremendous.
It was fun.
Right out of the first championship the league had ever had. You're catching the biggest fish. You're finishing really high in the standings. That's kind of the stuff of dreams. That's what you dream of when you start fishing in big time professional bass tournaments.
Yes, sir. It was a lot of fun. And I tell you what, if that lake ever comes up back, even if it rose 30 or 40 feet, I don't know what this hurricane or what this storm did down in Texas. I don't know if that water's going to dump into Amistad, but I'm telling you, that's a special place. And with all the cover that's on the bank that's grown in the last 15 years with the water down. I mean, dude, that would be an absolute phenomenal fun time.
Well, who knows? Maybe we can get back there at just the right time with just the right water levels and pre-spawn, and that could be an epic event.
It really could.
And in just a moment, I want to go into the potential for an absolutely epic event right here at the St. Lawrence, because this is legendary smallmouth water. But first, I want to tell everybody some more of your accolades, because you are extremely accomplished angler. You've done really well in the NPFL. You've got 8 top 20 finishes and 7 top 10 finishes. Only a handful of guys have been in the top 10 more often than Jesse Wise. That's a big deal. In 2023, you were 3rd in AOY. This year, it's been a little of a struggle for you.
Yep.
And you haven't had the kind of consistent high finishes that I'm accustomed from seeing from Jesse Wise. And I hate to put it to you, but what's going on this year that's been tougher for you?
You know, the last 2 years, actually, you know, last year we had that championship and I finished 2nd in that event. Yeah. And then I got one more check into 6 regular season events and I finished, I think, 44th or 5th in the AOI. Last year I just missed it. And this year, you know, after the last tournament, I was sitting in 36th. You know, I was inside the cut and, you know, Eufaula just took my lunch money. I don't know what is going on this year. Like, I done well at Norman, got a check at Norman, but for some reason, you know, the last 2 events at Douglas and at Eufaula, man, I cut my teeth flipping muddy water, spinnerbait and chatterbait and muddy high water. You know, I was chomping at the bit for both of them tournaments. I mean, I was looking forward to it. And here's the bad part. I had a really good practice at both of them events. The fish just eluded me. It's not like I lost them. I fished clean.
Right.
I just absolutely did not get the quality bites during practice. I mean, during the tournament.
Well, I lack your experience in fishing big events, but I've been to a lot of big events and covered a lot of big events as a media person, and I've studied the events. And I look at an event like a tournament like Eufaula, where the lake was 7 or 8 feet high. The lake was extremely dirty, and I was really impressed that the field went out there and absolutely caught them on day one.
Dude, they cracked them.
Cracked them on day one. It was amazing to me. Very impressive. Shows you the strength of this field.
It is.
But one of those things that at a tournament like Eufaula, where the water's extremely high, the water's extremely dirty, tough, kind of outside the norm conditions, is it turns those standings upside down and shakes them hard. Yeah. And a lot of the guys who you expect to absolutely be right there in the hunt were not.
Yeah.
I think we were all looking for bigger things from you. We were all looking for bigger things from Jason Christie, from Zach Burge. And you guys just did not have the tournament that I was expecting, that a lot of the fans were expecting.
Yeah.
And you can't do much other than shrug your shoulders, can you?
I didn't get many phone calls on the way home from Eufaula. A lot of times my phone blows up. You know, a lot of my sponsors are good friends back home. I didn't get many phone calls because everybody knew I was pretty mad. I was having to soak on it. But I tell you who absolutely stands behind me no matter if I finish last or I finish first. You know, my family, my mom and dad, and my wife, you know, Catherine. You know, she's the backbone, the butter to the bread, basically.
That's fantastic.
It's, you know, words of encouragement from family and sponsors and friends is always good. But, you know, I had time to reflect on it, you know, and it just boiled down to what Daddy said, you know, it won't end the good Lord's timing. You know, I mean, everything happens for a reason. I've always believed that. And for some reason, when you're not fishing good, it's like you can't make the right decisions. But we about to get this thing back on track.
Well, I'm not trying to put a negative spin on anything. I was just bringing that up because I was expecting a big tournament from you there, a big tournament from Jason Christie, Zach Burge. I'm thinking, okay, these are the 3 guys I'm watching here. And Tommy Biffle and some others who did have good tournaments. Yeah. But that was very surprising. Now, we're here at the St. Lawrence River, maybe the most legendary smallmouth water.
Everybody's bucket list.
In America, yes. You know, we got, out of the field of 110 or so anglers here, nobody lives in New York.
Wow, that's cool. That's
not a single one.
That's interesting.
But when I talk to the guys about, hey, I ask them what's their local lake, then I'll say, where's your favorite place to bass fish?
Gotta be the St. Lawrence.
This place comes up time and time again. I'll bet you 20 or 25 guys in the field would pick this body of water.
Yes.
And I know that you have quite a bit of experience here.
Yeah, actually, you know, this is, I think, my 5th year in a row coming. I was unable to come this year until now, but we have a group of guys from back home in Raleigh, North Carolina. We usually bring 3 or 4 boats up here and get a house, and we just have a fun week of fishing, basically. Everybody goes out, no competition. It's just go out and have fun. And we've come at 4 different times of the year. And this year, the group of guys come 2.5 weeks ago. They come, or 3 weeks ago when it was the open weekend.
Without you.
I couldn't come
Yeah.
because we were at Eufaula, and
Yeah.
it was off limits, obviously. And I ain't been able to talk to none of my buddies. It's kind of killed me, It's like, but I seen pictures, and dude, they absolutely crushed them 3 weeks ago. I mean, you can see pictures on, Facebook, and they were catching fives after fives after fives. This place is incredible.
It is incredible, and a couple things about it, Jesse, that I expect you'll agree with. This field is going to slay them.
Yes.
Just about everybody's going to come to the scales all 3 days with 5 bass. And the guy who's going to win this tournament, his fish are going to average 4.5, 412. And the guy who's going to finish in 75th place, his fish are going to average 3 3/4.
The guy that wins might average 5 pounds.
Might average 5 pounds. Yeah, he could absolutely do that. We could see 75 pounds here over the course of 3 days.
Here's the interesting thing about our tournament here. We're going out of Massena.
Mm-hmm.
It's 105 miles or so, or something like in the ballpark to the lake.
It's a long way to the lake.
And our boundary line is, it's out there where you can go to Duck Island if you want. Somebody makes that run, I'm telling you, they better be catching because they ain't gonna have about an hour and a half to fish.
That's a commitment. Yeah, that is a commitment.
But they live there. You know what I mean? So it's a high risk, reward if you can get on your spot and get 5 bites. Because if you get 5 bites, I mean, they could be 5-pounders just like that.
Are you considering a run like that?
Yes, I am. I actually got. Well, I say it's a bad boat number for day one because of the weather we got tomorrow. It should be good weather. But,
right.
What's
your number?
Boat 11, I think. I'm in the first
boat 11. Ah, okay.
So it's the first time all year I've been boat 11. So tomorrow I have a short day. Check in at 3 o'clock. I'd like to be checking in at like 4:35.
Sure.
So I'd have a little, more time.
Yeah.
But yes, I definitely will make that run for 2 days. I'm going to see what it holds.
You're a real strategist. That's one of the things I admire about you is you're always thinking about the next move, planning the next move. When did you decide I'm going to make the run? I'm going to commit the hours it takes and the hours it's going to cost you to get there and back?
I've been here, this is, like I say, the 5th year, and every time you get good weather and you can go on the lake, you better be on the lake.
Okay.
And that's my experience.
Even when you're not going to be able to go all 3 days?
Yeah, you better go.
Go if you can.
Yeah, because if you go out there and catch, a 25-pound bag on day 1 and you can't go on day 2 and then stay in the river and catch 17, 18, 19 pounds, you're still on that.
Got an 8-pound cushion over the other guys.
You got that little cushion.
Yeah.
So, my experience here on the river, and I know people catch big bags all the way up here at Massena, Waddington, Ogdenburg. So there is 5-pounders swimming around. There's, I've even heard of 2 6-pounders coming, getting caught up here this week.
There was a picture of a 6-pound largemouth circulating.
Yes, there was.
And you don't ordinarily think of largemouth as the species that's going to put you in the winner's circle, but it could happen.
Yep, it very possibly could, for sure.
So you've already decided you're going to make that run, and the weather looks good. It looks like you could conceivably make that run all 3 days.
It looks like that. Yep.
And that doesn't happen that often.
No, it does not. I've been chomping at the bit. During practice, the first day and the second day, we had, high winds out of the southwest, which was blowing straight into the river. So, I didn't even go practice. But see, I've been here 6 years, so I knew where a lot of stuff was out there. And today we had a good day, and I went and checked a bunch of it, and seen what I wanted to see.
Well, you've been here before with your buddies, fun fishing. And I should put that in quotes because Jesse Wise's idea of fun fishing is probably very different and a lot more technical and a lot more scientific and a lot more strategic than the rest of us.
Yep.
But do you feel like you've learned enough through fun fishing and enough through your practice this week to give yourself a great shot?
Yes. I mean, this is one of them tournaments where it could be, they could potentially be anybody's ball game. Because if let's just say you pull up on a drift. You pull up on a drift and there's a wad of 5-pounders up there, they might not have been there 3 days ago, but,
right.
This is the time of year where the fish are moving. They're coming off the spawn or, starting to feed up. It could be good for a lot of people.
I was looking at the field trying to think of, okay, who are the guys who have maybe the best shot? The guys you'd say this is my list of 10, 12 guys who I think are really going to have a great chance here. And I kind of threw it out the window because the guys who have a lot of experience here either have it from quite a few years ago, and I don't want to totally discount that, but I'm going to discount that a little bit, or the guys who have more recent experience here, but they had the use of forward-facing sonar.
Yeah. Yep.
And so that goes back to the
It definitely makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, that goes back to the statement you made a minute ago, kind of anybody's ball game. Doesn't that throw it open?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, with scope, you can get out there and, you're fishing where they fish because you can see them.
Yeah.
Right now, during practice in 3 days, I fished a lot of new water I've never fished in the past 5 years, not knowing if they was fish there. And, with the cloud cover and the rain, the conditions we've had during practice, a lot of the fish don't bite near as good.
Is that going to slow you down more? The lack of forward-facing sonar, is that going to cost you time more than anything else?
Yeah, I think it does cost you time because when you, if you pull up on the spot, them fish might have moved and it's harder to relocate them. You got to fish for them. It's old school.
Yeah.
Old school. You got to fish for them. And it might take 30 minutes, but if you relocate them, it don't take long.
I think you're in a sweet spot age-wise in the league and in the style of fishing that's involved in the league right now because you're 40-year-olds,
Yep.
40-year-old guy, and that means you have a ton of experience with old school, more traditional techniques and electronics, but you're young enough and smart enough and diligent enough that you're also very proficient with the more modern technology.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the transition is easier for you than a lot of guys because of that?
Oh, yeah, I was catching them, back home before scope. I was fishing when I was 10 years old, and you just fish off instincts and go fishing. But scope definitely does make it, it gives you more confidence because you're fishing where a fish is at.
Yeah, it takes a lot of that imagination out of it. You don't have to hope there's a fish by that rock pile. You can
That's right.
count them.
Yep. That's correct.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your fishing style because one of the things I noticed about Jesse Wise is Jesse Wise catches them everywhere the league goes. How would you describe your style as an angler? And again, I'm going to take that one word out of your vocabulary that I hate when asking this question. You can't say versatile.
Yeah, I'm going to say power fishing.
Power fishing.
Power fishing 101, chunking and winding, whether it's a plug, spinnerbait, chatterbait, or, jig. I got a friend back home that, we fish local team tournaments, and he drags a little finesse worm all day long. And that's just not me. I mean, it drives me bananas.
but now is that also part of your tournament strategy? You're up there power fishing, looking for a better quality fish. He's in the back making sure you got 5 to take to the scale.
Yeah, I tell you, it joining the league 4 years ago, and when you're fishing for $8,000 check, 40th place, you do a lot of different things. So, be honest with you, I've probably won more money in the past 4 years with a Senko than any other bait. You slow down when money's on the line a lot. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I hear you.
You got to get a 5-fish limit. And, in my 4 years, I want to say, you might even know this stat, but maybe 4 days out of 4 years I hadn't had a limit.
Oh, you're one of the masters at catching 5 every day out. And as a matter of fact, what's weird though, and you've come very close, but what's interesting to me, and I shouldn't say it's weird, but never before in NPFL history has an angler limited every day for a full season.
It's going to happen this year.
It's going to happen this year because right now there are 16 guys who have done it.
Yep.
And probably all 16 will still be alive and well
until we get to Logan
after
Martin.
this.
Logan Martin. That might take some people's lunch money that time of year.
Logan Martin in September when it's hot, that could absolutely take some. That will take some guys out. That'll probably knock it down. It might knock it down into the single digits, but guys are going to do it this year. And you're one of those guys who always catches 5. And to me, that's what separates the wheat from the guys who really have the skills. Is the guys who consistently bring in 5 fish, and you're one of those people.
Yeah, I mean, very fortunate.
That's good. That ain't lucky. That ain't fortunate. That's just good.
Yeah, well,
That's the word I hate. That's versatile.
The good Lord's, what do you call it? It's in the good Lord's will just to catch them.
Okay, well, I love the fact that you're saying a Senko has been a big part of that. You know, throwing a stick worm, kind of the ultimate kind of do nothing finesse technique. Because I think of a guy from North Carolina, which you are, is a guy who probably wakes up in the morning wondering what kind of crankbait he's going to throw.
Oh yeah, I love a big plug.
There you go, and I love that. Anybody who calls it a plug from North Carolina is good at it, because that's the lingo. That is the lingo there, and it comes from a barrel plug, when the first wooden baits were made by guys like James Hedden back in the 19th century. So anybody who calls it that, they know what they're doing. Like this man.
Yep.
Now, is this going to be a drop shot derby?
There will be a lot of fish caught on a drop shot.
Do you think that's going to be the way it's going to be won?
It'll have something to do with it for sure. I mean, I think the stage that these fish are in, you can catch them doing just about anything you want to do right now.
Can this tournament be won in less than 10 feet of water?
Maybe. I could see it. Yeah.
What is going to happen for Jesse Wise to have a shot on day 3 to take home the big trophy?
Just fish clean, I think. I think I'll be around them. Obviously, they live here. You know, like today, when you mentioned earlier, I put my son on his personal best. He caught a 4.3. Yeah. I pulled up to a spot that I fished before, and I made one cast and caught a 4.12, and I said, oof, you know, and there was 10 or 12 more with it, and I was like, that's cool. And I left, you know, obviously it's practice, and I left, and I went an hour, and I didn't ever get a bite, and I was like, darn, my son was sitting there. He's only caught one. It was about 11 o'clock, and he was like, man, I really want to catch one. I was like, okay. So I went back over there, and I let him throw one time, and he caught a 4.3. So,
pretty good.
You know, it's fishing, and I believe them fish will bite again. I do. Smallmouth are mean. They're hungry. They're so ferocious.
And I've got a lot of friends who come up here like you and your buddies do every year and fish this place, and they use the word, it's probably not fair, but I like it. We call them stupid. Yeah. I think we all love stupid bass, don't we?
Yeah.
We all love bass that attack a lure like they've never seen one in their life.
So this is a funny story. Last year, my son came with me. He come with a group of guys last year, and had like a 3.5 pounder on bed. Spot locked right over it. In 6 foot of water. Didn't have to use a flogger. You could see it. I mean, it just stood out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
And my son dropped down on it, cracked him, like first drop on him, bam, caught him. We were sitting there spot locked, and at that time, I was like, you know what? I've always heard, can you catch the same fish, in 5 minutes? Yeah. Fish went back down there. It was less than 5 minutes. I dropped down, caught the same fish. I mean, when they're hot, they're hot.
And we've seen it in other leagues where guys would catch the same fish multiple times, and because it was catch, weigh, release, the fish would be counted multiple times, and that's not, I don't think that's quite cool.
No.
But, these fish
I was not a fan of that.
Yeah, these fish can get wildly aggressive, and especially if you can find them in like a wolf pack, where they're competing for that food. That's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun time. I think everybody's having fun this week, catching a lot of fish.
As a competitor, I know you love this place because you vacation here with your friends, but do you like these kind of tournaments? I struggle with these kind of tournaments because I know everybody's going to catch them. And I know that the guy who wins the tournament, he's only going to be that much better than the guys who finish 50th.
Yeah.
And 60th.
It ain't quite like, well, historically speaking, you go to Champlain, ounces, like 4 ounces might mean 25 spots at Champlain. So it's not quite that, but, a pound and a half will move you up a lot.
Well, here at Champlain, you might have a few guys who don't catch a limit. Here, everybody might have 5. I mean, we can conceivably send the whole field out there, and on 1 or 2 days, just absolutely everybody. Unless
somebody takes the risk and makes a long run, and the fish move, and they can't relocate them, then they might have to back up and punt. And, if you're running 2.5 hours, and you're risking it for the biscuit,
you're in a world of trouble.
Yeah, you could. I mean, you know,
or a mechanical problem.
If you run out there and your fish move, you know how I've never really been bad about it, but you know, you can spin out real quick, and then you just are scrambling around like a chicken with your head cut off. Like, what do? I got to go catch one, you know. And then if you can't get bit in an hour or so, bam, you know, you got to start working your way back. And you know, we're very blessed for the next 3 days. I think if the weather don't change, everybody's going to be able to run around and do about what they want to do.
We've got some rain coming, it looks like.
Yep.
Some rain tomorrow, maybe some rain on Friday. Is that going to impact the bite you found?
Yeah, I mean, I think it does. I really do.
Is it going to be good or bad?
These fish just love the sun, and they don't bite near as good when it's cloudy and rainy. So it could definitely impact the bite.
Is that good? Is that bad? Can you plan?
I mean,
for that?
I would pray for, you know, 5 mile an hour wind, bright sun is perfect.
Little chops, you can get on top of them.
You know,
better.
everybody's in the same boat. You know, we got, 110 anglers here?
Yeah.
Or 112, 110?
I think it's 110.
You know, everybody wants that. It's the perfect storm. But obviously, everybody's dealt the same cards. And, you know, somebody's going to go out there and catch 15 bass. That's going to be close to 5 pounds, and I sure hope it's me.
So if I could hand you, let's say I could hand you 70 pounds right now, would you take it and sleep in?
No.
That's not quite. Wow, that is a statement. Jesse Wise, that's a statement.
This is St. Lawrence River. I mean, there's so many 4.5, 5 pound smallmouth in this place. Now, they might not bite, but, I mean, if you historically look at the Elite Series, the Toyota Series, you know, your BFLs, I mean, it's almost takes 19, 20 pounds to get a check.
Oh, absolutely it does. It really
and,
does.
You know, the winners is catching century belts in 4 days.
Also very true. Yeah. I'm dreaming of the day when the NPFL, which fishes 3-day derbies, when we get on a fork or an Amistad or a Falcon or something like that and crack 100 in 3 days. That's what I'm dreaming of. Not going to happen in smallmouth water. It's amazing when somebody does the century belt in 4 days with smallmouth. That's really outstanding.
Yeah, it is.
Man, you have been an absolute delight. I appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you coming off the water a little early to visit with us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And wish you all the luck out there.
Absolutely. It's
Hope
been
your
an honor.
fish super clean. Hope you find the fish you need.
I'm excited.
What's the main thing you're going to do tonight to be prepared for tomorrow morning?
Well, Mom and Daddy's in town, and Mama's cooking supper right now.
Oh, there.
So
there you go.
We're gonna go back to the house, get us a fresh Mountain Dew, and get us some chili mac in our belly.
And your son's going to tell everybody about his PB smallmouth.
Yeah. He's got a story now.
Can't beat that.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, it's been a fun week. You know, last year we had a great time, and it's been a super fun week fishing with him. You know, I truly love that's the thing about the league, that we can have family members, you know, ride with us and fish. You know, Daddy rode with me at Pickwick, and I had a terrible day. You know, I've had a couple of sponsors ride with me. I mean, it's fun having somebody in the boat, sharing the experience with them.
Now, last question for you. If you have a better tournament here than you did at Pickwick when your dad was out with you, does that mean your son is going to be your practice partner until the luck goes the other way?
We're going to have to. Yeah, might have to miss school.
There you heard it.
Yeah.
I like the answer.
Yeah.
Jesse, thank you so much, man.
Yes, sir.
Good luck.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Hope to see you with a trophy on Friday.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You take care, man. Let's see. We got more guests on here. Or actually, I think we have a serious guest of honor here. Oh, please join us. I haven't even been introduced to this young lady yet, but I have her to thank for being able to get into the building. so I already owe you a great debt. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Sure, yeah. I'm Amy Stark. I'm the Community Relations and Visitor Center Manager here at the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Seaway Development Corporation.
Amy, you have a beautiful facility here. And by the way, your organization is the one that controls the river.
Yes, it is.
In essence, a lot of times, you know, when we're at a body of water, it's the Corps of Engineers lake, or maybe it's a local, maybe it's a state electric department lake or something like that. But this lake is controlled by the St. Lawrence Seaway folks.
Yes, us and the Canadians. So we share different sectors through the river.
And y'all are part of the Department of Transportation.
That's correct.
Is that right? So, well, fantastic. And Amy, I want to thank Amy for letting me in the gate. The gate was closed. Amy saw me with a cap on and let me in. So that was a great thing for me. Thank you. Now, one of the things that I'm afraid our audience can't see very well, but oh my gosh, Amy, look at your timing. You can look behind us maybe here in the distance, and hopefully Brad can change the focal point here for us. But that is a gigantic ship hauling who knows what, and a lot of it, down the St. Lawrence Seaway. And we have been watching that thing coming for more than an hour, in the distance. And what amazing timing, Amy. You're awesome.
I did the best that I could for all of you today. So it's actually hauling canola seeds. And it's heading to Montreal. This one happens to be going down to Montreal.
So you not only know everything that's going through here. I mean, obviously you have log books and you keep track records and keep records and all of that.
Yes, our Vessel Traffic Control Center collects all the information for all the vessels transiting up and down the river and does call-in points with them so they know where everybody is and keeps a really sharp eye on everything that's happening.
And a lot of our anglers are familiar with locking systems on chains of lakes, where they have to change from one level of water to another water level to go from here to there. How much does the water level change from upstream of where we are to
So right here, this vessel's going to be dropped about 40 feet. So
40 feet, wow.
Yeah, but it'll come in, we'll drop at 40. It's a pretty big drop.
This is the largest lock I've ever seen in my life. Not that I'm as experienced in such things as I'm sure you are, but this is impressive.
It really is. It's a really unique experience seeing a vessel this large, go through the lock.
And you see this multiple times a day, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we do. The ships are coming through 24 hours a day, so they can come through, middle of the night. But fortunately for us, usually every day we have a ship or two at least, maybe more, that come through. And so when we're open, we have the community able to come and view them really up close up here at the visitor center.
Well, I should tell everybody watching that the only person who's here with me and Amy basically is Brad of the NPFL staff. So Brad is still serving diligently for league purposes, but everybody else has abandoned us for the rail to watch this giant ship pass through. Is this thing going through under its own power, or is there something else taking it through, current or anything?
No, it is on its own power. Sometimes we have tugs and barges come in, and the tug's moving the barge in, but this one is under its own power. They really take their time. We can fit vessels 740 feet long, and the lock itself is 80 feet wide. And so some vessels have maybe a foot on each side.
A foot on each side.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing to me. And passing through, and I wouldn't want that kind of responsibility.
Right. Yeah, you got to really be on your game for doing that. Yeah. And we actually have some exhibits here at the center where you can drive a ship into a lock. So if you come here as a visitor, you can try your luck at threading the needle, getting the ship into the lock.
Yeah, anybody who's in this part of the world near Massena, New York, you need to check out the, let's see if I can get the name of it right here. Amy, I had it a minute ago. It is the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Seaway Visitor Center in Massena, New York. And I got a little bit of a tour of the museum and the displays down there. And I was shown the simulator, I guess,
yes,
for maneuvering one of these things. And I didn't get a chance to try it out, but I probably would have wrecked it and destroyed a gigantic ship or dropped a bunch of containers in the water or something like that. But this is really special. And this looks like a very new facility.
Yes, you're sitting in a year-old facility. We opened it just over a year ago. And we did have an old visitor center since the late 1960s, and then we built this one starting in 2022, opened it last year to the public, and we've welcomed tens of thousands of visitors from 20 different countries and all 50 states. So we've been very grateful, really, for the community, coming and seeing it and experiencing it with us.
It's beautiful, and I would encourage anybody with a chance to get to Massena, New York, to check it out because I don't know where else you're going to see something this large, this impressive, and this instrumental to making the river work as a thoroughfare for commerce. We all notice the big trucks moving down the highway, the 18-wheelers and stuff like that, but before it gets on an 18-wheeler, it's quite often on a ship the size of the one that's passing through the lock right now.
Yes, and actually some of our recent studies, we've determined that if you took all of the goods that transited through here and made it into a GDP, we'd have the third largest economy in the world as far as value that's coming through the St. Lawrence Seaway system. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, we're feeding the Great Lakes economy, a $6 trillion economy. We're one of the major supply chains to enable that. So we just feel fortunate to be able to share that with people so up close with so many educational opportunities. Queen Elizabeth came through, in 1959, and we have a document that she signed down on display, recording that. Her husband, Prince Philip, signed it, and even Richard Nixon, who is also here. So some little pieces of history that you might not otherwise know. The great engineering feat that it was, along with the New York State Power Dam, too. So there's two big projects that happened all at once here in about a 4 or 5 year period. Just got it all done under President Eisenhower. So you can come and take in all of that history for history buffs and look at the river and just get a great, day.
Yeah, the scenic beauty of this place, the engineering accomplishments that are here, the history of it all. This is a must stop and see. If you're ever in New York near the Canadian border in Massena, this is definitely one of the things you want to do. Amy, thank you so much for stopping by and saying hello, and thank you for letting me in the gate.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here. We absolutely love welcome you here.
Well, it's a privilege, and we go to a lot of great places, and we always enjoy it, and there's always something cool and interesting, but this stands out, I got to say. This really stands out.
Fantastic. Thank you for saying that.
Well, thank you much. Appreciate it, Amy. Great to see you.
Yep. Have a good night.
You too. We got more, folks. We got another guest coming on Roundtable. His name is Corey Casey. He's another guy like Jesse Wise who's going to be fighting to win this tournament. Thank you, Brad. Corey put those on. Hey, man, I want to thank you, too, just like I thank Jesse for cutting your day short a little bit. And let's make sure we've got good audio for you. Corey Casey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man, good. Have you ever seen a ship that big?
Not from 5 feet away.
Good answer.
I've seen a bunch of them out here, but I try not to get that close.
Yeah, that is an impressive thing. And I've never seen anything like that big going through a lock like this.
Yeah. I thought it was crazy that the ship's like this wide and the lock's like that wide.
Yeah.
And he's got
Amy was telling us that there's some of the ships, I don't know about that one in particular, but some of the ships have only a foot on either side.
Yeah. That's what it looks like.
I can't get my bass boat into a spot with only a foot on either side. I would not trust myself.
Yeah, that's why you do podcasts. You don't drive big ships.
He's right. Unfortunately, he's right. It's embarrassing, but he is absolutely correct. Corey Casey, Moncks Corner, South Carolina. Very impressive young man, very impressive pro, having another great year in the NPFL. Last year, 28th in AOY, I believe. This year, 15th?
Yeah, should be better.
That's a typical answer from a bass pro, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I'd have said first, you'd have said, should have been better.
No, I wouldn't have said that. That's pretty good.
But before we get too deep into your fishing here on the St. Lawrence, because I got to believe you don't have a ton of experience up here.
None.
And you may not have a ton of experience with smallmouth bass.
I've caught about 10 before I got here. Now I've caught about 12. So we're good.
But I want to talk about some of the cool stuff you're doing with the NPFL on the NPFL website and on your own YouTube channel.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
You have been doing you've been creating some great content that is living on the NPFL website, folks. And all you got to do to get there is search the National Professional Fishing League.com. You can go to the news page and search Corey Casey. You'll find all his stuff there. He's kind of in the middle of a really cool series on topwater fishing right now, which is not only a great way to catch them at this time of year, but maybe the most fun way to catch them anytime.
I would agree. It's my favorite thing to do.
And he does such a good job at it, not only because he's smart and he's a great fisherman, but because he's a professional fishing guide on Santee Cooper, another legendary piece of bass water. And because you're a guide, you spend a ton of your time teaching, don't you?
Yeah, I like teaching. It's one of my favorite things to do. Get somebody out there and like young kids or whatever, high school kids, those are my favorite trips. It's fun to just go catch as many as you can, but I don't know. Sometimes you get a light bulb goes off and you see it, and they're like, oh, that was cool. And then,
I bet a lot of times you're taking these, well, not just young people, but sometimes adults too,
yeah,
and they're catching their first fish or their first bass.
Yeah. I've had a few that have never caught a bass, couldn't throw a rod at all, and you just got to teach them, you know. So they don't care if it's a 2-pounder or a pound and a half or whatever. They just want to catch one. So
I don't think enough people realize how valuable a professional fishing guide, a professional fishing teacher like Corey is in a situation like that. Because if you're a parent and you're trying to teach your kid how to fish, that might be frustrating. That might be more than you want to take on. But if you get somebody who's a professional at it and who does it day after day after day, or at least weekly, teaching somebody else how to catch a fish for the first time or one of the first times, they're probably going to do a better job.
Yeah, I would think so. And I catch myself all the time. I guess because I do it so much.
Yeah.
It's I'll teach somebody something, and I don't really think I'm teaching them anything. I'll just kind of tell them, they're like, oh, I never thought about that. But to me, it's like the simplest little thing ever. And I'm like, okay. So it kind of just puts you in your place sometimes of like, man, there really is a lot you can teach that's super simple. So,
well, one of the things I really appreciated about the content you create for the NPFL website and on your YouTube channel is that you really do a great job of simplifying it and bringing it down to its most elemental level. There doesn't have to be a lot of complication in most fishing techniques.
right.
You don't have to tie a crazy Alberto knot with a whip finish and
A double San Diego
yeah, exactly. You don't have to
bagel
do that.
biscuit.
You can tie a Palomar knot and
Yeah.
you're good.
Old fisherman knot. I still tie that.
There you go.
Twist it 7 times.
Yeah, improved clinch knot. Those things work. And you do an exemplary job of making it as easy and simple and straightforward as anybody I've ever seen.
No, I try, and I learned that on guide trips. Like, if I would have just went straight into making videos, I probably would have made it more complicated just because. But I've learned on guide trips, man. It's so, as far as tying a knot or a Texas rig. I mean, I had some guys in their 70s that they've never thrown a Texas rig speed worm. They throw shaky heads or whatever they see, and he goes back to his pond and just drags around a Texas rig speed worm and starts sending me pictures. He's like, oh, thank you so much for a peg Texas rig speed worm. Simple as it gets.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when I was a kid learning fishing about 1 million years ago, my parents didn't fish. I didn't have any relatives who bass fished. I had a grandfather who fly fished, but that was very different from what I was trying to learn in South Florida.
You could just watch YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
yeah, exactly. Well, now he's taking a shot at how old I am. But he's exactly right. There was no YouTube. There were magazines, but it was tough. And I think now if I were a young person and I'm walking into a Bass Pro Shops or I'm looking at Tackle Warehouse online, I would be enormously intimidated.
It's very overwhelming.
I might have given it up.
It's overwhelming to me sometimes. Like, you can definitely watch too many videos. You can watch too many, you can read too much, and this person says that, and that person says this, and the best way to figure it out is just do it, because there is no one way that just is better.
And you come by it because of your grandpa, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, my whole family, yeah, but definitely my granddad was a fishing guide that's all he ever did. Started doing when he was 20, and retired when he was 78, and so I grew up just fishing. Just fishing. So things that I learned from him at a young age that I've known for so long, I just forget that not everybody knows those things. So
that's wonderful, and it's cool, especially that you get the same joy and satisfaction and now a career out of what your grandpa did and what he showed you, because you were his first mate as a little guy. Yeah,
I started doing it when I was probably, 7 or 8, and did it all through the summers and spring breaks and Christmas or weekends, just whenever I could. But I just love to go. I just love to be on the boat. I never caught a first mate. I didn't ever catch anything.
You don't necessarily get to catch them that way, do you?
You just hang out with people and cast and net. Just get to see it go down. So
while I'm thinking about it, let's tell folks how they can get in touch with you, because Santee Cooper, like we were saying, is a legendary largemouth bass fishery. When the NPFL was there for the season opener this year, basically all of the catch records were broken, including some by this man who put together two of the best catches, two of the top 10 catches in NPFL history were you.
Yeah.
And
wasn't enough, though.
It was enough to finish second.
Yeah.
It was enough to finish second.
Let those Elite Series guys in, Gee. Thanks, Brian.
There's some good fishermen in the NPFL, and the good fishermen are perhaps outnumbered by the great fishermen. But you're one of them, because look where you are in AOY. You're in 15th place in AOY.
Yeah.
A good tournament here, and you lock up a spot in the 2026 championship.
Yeah, we're screwed on that one. I have to wait to lock it up at the next one.
Okay, now, all right, you said something a few minutes ago that caught my attention. I asked you about smallmouth, and you said you'd caught maybe 10 before you got here. You said now you've caught 12.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
That was a joke. No, I don't know.
Glad to hear that was a joke.
Yeah, I probably caught 30, so nothing too crazy.
Well, you're probably not fishing as much as you're scouting and trying to figure some things out, right?
I don't know. I fished pretty hard the first 2 days. I didn't fish too much today, but yesterday was tough. First day was pretty good.
I was just talking with Jesse Wise. He was on just before you, and Jesse has a pretty significant advantage over a lot of the guys in this field. He has come here for the last 4 or 5 years with his buddies every summer.
That helps.
Yeah, it helps a lot. So he knows the water pretty good. And he's one of those guys who's going to be making that long run to the lake where he feels like in just an hour or two he can do better than he can by staying close and fishing a full day. Yeah. Are you going to make a long run like that and take that gamble?
I am. I'm going to go 85 miles or so.
Yeah.
But I don't really know why I'm doing it. Just thought that's what I was supposed to do. So
here's one of the things I love about Corey Casey is he the man speaks the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I'm doing it. I hope I can make it down there. Hope somebody in front of me is going so I can just follow behind them.
I think you're going to have the weather for it.
Yeah,
which is not always true.
Yeah. That played a factor, I guess. If it would have been blowing like 20 or 25, the first couple of days it was rough. It was rough.
Yeah, if wind blows 20, 25 miles an hour out here, no matter which way it blows, it's going to present a challenge, either going or coming or something.
Yeah, that's tough, and I definitely didn't know enough a lot of wind hurts practice. It's hard to learn when it's so windy. To me, it's hard to learn.
I'm a little familiar with Santee Cooper, where you've lived your whole life, basically, and I know a little bit about what it's like. There's some big water out at Santee Cooper, but there's a lot of cover, tons of cypress trees, a lot of lily pads, a lot of vegetation. Looks really nothing like this, does it?
No, not at all. I haven't seen a single cypress tree.
I don't think you will.
Yeah, a lot of rocks.
Stop looking for cypress.
Okay.
If you're planning on skipping a Cinco under a cypress tree, stop now.
I'm out on that.
Yeah, that's not going to work out for you.
Yeah.
But are you at least confident you're going to go out there and catch a limit every day?
I think I can catch a limit.
Yeah, I know you can.
I think so.
I know you can.
But I don't know. You try to just base your practice off of the research you've done. So when you look at weights and you're like, you feel like you need this or you feel like you need that, but I'm a wait till day one and adjust from there kind of guy. So
it's working for you.
We'll go catch. 2
years in the NPFL, man, and you're, from my perspective, you're killing it.
Yeah, you're supposed to know this stuff by heart. You shouldn't have notes. You should just know.
I have to have notes. If I don't have notes, I'm in trouble.
You're just supposed to know it all.
But I know what you've done in the league for sure. And is it easier to do research on a legendary body of water that sees so much tournament activity like the St. Lawrence versus a place that maybe doesn't see as many big tournaments like Logan Martin, where you're going next, or you follow where you were last?
I guess it's easier to get information or from videos and whatnot. The more videos there are, But then again, it's like you watch one video and a guy says you need to be here and doing this, and then you watch another video and the guy says you need to be doing this and you need to be here, and it's completely opposite, and you're like, well, I can't do both. So you just kind of try to get an idea. It's still fishing, but
is 3 days enough for Corey Casey to feel comfortable out here?
Absolutely not. No, I still don't know how to run around. I'm going like 40 because there's boulders and islands and stuff everywhere.
So don't hit a boulder.
I'm going to try not.
Yeah, don't hit a boulder.
I'm going to really try not.
That'd be very bad for your lower unit or more.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to try not to do that. But
what's your personal best smallmouth?
It was a 412, 4 pounds, 12 ounces that I caught at Pickwick last year.
You killed him at Pickwick last year.
That's where I caught smallmouth. Only place I really ever caught them.
Corey Casey stat for you folks. I keep track of who's caught the 10 heaviest bags in each day of competition. You know, day 1 in all tournaments, day 2 all tournaments, and so forth. This is the only man who's in the top 10 of day 1, day 2, and day 3. Did you know that?
I did not.
There you go.
And you didn't have to read your notes.
Didn't have to read my notes for that.
I'm talking. That's smart of me.
No, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. But you're a guy who's becoming known for catching big bags of fish. Are you going to do it here?
I don't know. I'm going to try. What's a big bag?
A big bag here, I'd say, is 22 pounds.
Ooh, I had 22 pounds on the first day.
I'm looking at Don Meisner, who knows this water super well. He was our guest yesterday on Roundtable. Go check that out. Don, is 22 pounds this time of year a big bag? That's a good bag. That's your standard. Don says you're going to need 22, 24 pounds every day to be really in the hunt.
To win it?
Well, Don says 25 a day is going to win it.
Oh, that's tough. We don't have live scope, you know. I hope he's not right.
Show's over here. I know Don's very interesting, but show's over here. We got to stay here.
Okay. Sorry, Don.
Don was a fabulous guest. Enlightened me a lot on this body of water here. All right. Well, let's talk about, it sounds like you have some nerves going into day 1. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah. Yeah, I got to run 85 miles of water I've never seen in my life.
Well, you have seen it. You practiced there, didn't you?
85 miles that way, but I don't know what's between 85 and start.
Okay. I hear you.
You know?
So you put in over there and you fished over there and then
you
come back over here. Now you got to make the run.
Yeah. Yeah. Hour and 45 minutes by the truck, so.
Whew.
Yeah. That's a long way in a boat. Got to get gas.
Are you going to have to stop? Are you going to stop going or coming back?
I ain't decided that yet. I don't know.
Do you know what your first cast is going to be with? What bait?
No, I don't.
Because you're not going to make your first cast until close to 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I don't know when it'll be. I don't know. It depends. I just have to look
How many rods on the deck in the morning?
Oh, maybe 5.
Okay. How many with a drop shot?
Probably 2. You know, might go down to 1.
How many with a buzzbait?
0.
Just checking.
I do have a spook tied on though.
There you go.
Right. Yeah.
There you go.
Spook, drop shot. I can't tell you all my secrets. I'm very secretive, so bass fishing, you have to be secretive.
Everybody's going to play this if you're in the lead after day 1. They're going to come back and they're going to play this, and they're going to know exactly what's going on. So 5 rods, you've already told me what's on 3 of them. You might as well tell me the other 2.
Let's see. Probably have a spook, drop shot, a jerk bait, a swim bait, some sort of little swim bait. And I'd say that's about it.
Do you have a feel for what it might take to do well in the tournament, to finish in the money?
No, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
You're in great shape for qualifying for the championship. Excellent shape. 15th place, decent finish here, decent finish at the finale. You're in. Make your second championship in a row. Because you're already going to be fishing the 2025 championship on Hartwell in October.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Expecting big things of you there, by the way.
Why?
Because you're Corey Casey.
Oh.
Do I need another reason?
That's not a good reason.
That's a pretty good reason where I sit.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point in the season, sitting 15th, feeling pretty good. Are you going out here thinking my goal, my express goal, my absolute intention is to win this tournament? Or are you kind of fishing for points, trying to make sure you don't hurt yourself in that staying in the top 40?
My goal is pretty much always the same. I never put gotta win in my head.
Okay.
I try to win,
sure,
but I don't want to not win and it seem like a failure, because that could be pretty hard on myself. So if my expectation is to win and I don't win, I'm like, you suck. You should go do something else, you know?
The best ever at this business would win maybe 5% of the time, 6% of the time. So, yeah, that's a healthy attitude.
My goal is always just try to get a check. Checks mean a lot. Checks mean a lot. There is money involved. So checks mean a lot. Try to get one of those. Just catch as much every day as I can and however it falls is how it falls. Hopefully it's inside the check line. That's the goal.
Does your attitude toward that, going expressly for the win, maybe taking some chances, does that change over the course of 3 days of a tournament?
It could. Oh, for sure. Yeah, it could. At Eufaula, it's a 2-day. So after day one, when I'm in third with 18-something, it's like, all right, what do you do now?
Yeah, you can win this thing.
Let's go win it.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't. We tried.
I like the effort. That tournament, the standings kind of took a big shake and a tumble.
Yeah.
Between day one and day two.
Yeah, it was a little tougher. It was just one of those days where, and I should know this, and I tell myself this all the time. When it's tough on me, it's usually tough on everybody else. But in the back of your mind, you're thinking like, man, is it this tough on everybody? Is it really this tough? And then you get back to the weigh-in, and it's always that tough on everybody. There hasn't been a lot of days where I've struggled really bad, and everybody else just blew them out. So I just needed to have the confidence.
That speaks to your capabilities as an angler. Doesn't that give you confidence?
Oh yeah, I mean, it gives me confidence.
Yeah.
But I just need to have. I was thinking through the day, like, it ain't just tough on me. And then just kind of, it helps you put on a different little hat for the days.
There you go.
Hey, let's just grind. One bite can mean a world of difference. I only weighed in 4 at Eufaula on the second day. So
that happens to the best of them.
I would have put my grinding cap on. Better, a little tighter.
Well, I wouldn't think this will be a grinder. It might be a grind to find the quality of fish you need to find, but
yeah.
I'm not worried about your catching 5.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Is I don't feel like I've figured out how to catch big ones. So just naturally in the tournament, I'm not scared to do anything new in the tournament. Like I could go fish tomorrow and not fish anything that I practice. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. But when you only have 4 hours, you're kind of limited, and you kind of just got to go catch what you had in practice. And I just don't think it's enough. So it's going to be hard for me to do that. But when you start making those decisions, it can bite you sometimes.
Well, it's not going to bite you, man. You're gonna sail right through.
Yeah.
It's going to be an easy ride out there. You're going to whack them.
Yep.
You're going to drop the best 5 in the live well.
Yep.
Not 4, not 6.
Not 4, not 6.
You come back. Big Al is going to bring the boom, and you're going to be right up there.
He's going to say 12 pounds, 1 ounce. You're at 104.
All right. Tell everybody how they can find you and book a trip with you on Santee Cooper, or get to know you better and learn from your videos.
Yeah, I got all the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. That's all of them, right? YouTube.
Corey Casey. Yes.
Yep, Corey Casey is my name. Probably important.
Check him out on the NPFL website. Check out his YouTube channel. Book a trip with him if you want to have a lot of fun. Thank you, Corey.
Got my own personal website, too.
Tell us what the URL is.
Corey Casey Fishing and guideservice.com.
Excellent. There you go. You can find the man.
Yep.
That is going to do it, folks, for this edition of Roundtable. We're excited. This thing is about to go down here on the St. Lawrence River, and it's going to be a barn burner. There's going to be a ton of fish caught. And I want to thank everybody out there for their support of the NPFL. Don't forget to go online to the NPFL website and check out the apparel. Wear the pride, as we say. We're at Stop 5 on the St. Lawrence River, legendary smallmouth fishery. Our live weigh-in is tomorrow, Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern. That is where Big Al McCullough is going to bring the boom. We're going to have weigh-ins out of Massena Intake Boat Launch. So if you're local, come on by, check it out. Meet Corey Casey, get some autographs, visit with some of these pros. Then our live on-the-water coverage starts Thursday with Luke Duncan and Fat Cat Newton. That runs from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, the weigh-ins begin at 3. Roundtable will not be back until September. It's a long way away. But we will be back then for our tournament on Logan Martin Lake. That'll be the season finale. But until then, folks, enjoy the great fishing on the St. Lawrence River, and we will catch you later.